Good afternoon, teacher. Good afternoon, everyone. Today we're going to talk about reading and use of English. It is a section of the CAE exam. This section has 8 parts, and the total percentage to pass this section is 40%. 20 for reading and 20 for use of English. The time that the candidate has to develop this section is 90 minutes, 45 for reading and 45 for use of English.
In the part 1 of this part, reading and use of English, we have multiple choice clause. In this part, we have a text with 8 gaps. And to complete these gaps, we have an alternative from A to D. And this part is focused on vocabulary, chunks, set expressions, and linking words. Some examples of chunks are phrasal verbs, idioms, and collocations. Here we have some examples of this exercise. And finally, some tips to solve it are: read the whole text, look at the words around each gap, and eliminate obvious incorrect words. In the part 2, we have open close. It is also a text with 8 gaps, but in this part, we don't have alternatives. We have to complete with the parts of a speech, like pronouns, articles, modal, conjunctions, or prepositions. Here we have some examples of this exercise. And some tips to solve this exercise are: read the whole text and look the words around each gap.
Which has word formation questions. Word formation questions consist of a short text with 8 gaps. And for each gap, there will be a word in capital letters at the end of the line, which the candidate has to change according to the meaning in the sentence. Following that, the purpose of part 3 is to quantify the appreciation of word formation. It means to evaluate the knowledge, analysis, and interpretation of the process of affixation. For example, the use of parts of speech, prefixes, and affixes. Here we have some examples. As you can see, there are 8 gaps, and at the end of the line, you have a word in capital letters that you have to change according to the sentence. This is another example. And some tips in this part is read the whole text, look at the words around, to think about what parts of the speech is necessary for that space. So for example, you can see if you have an article, then you need a noun. And finally, to get a good result, it is mandatory to practice a lot. Part 4 of reading and use of English is called keyword transformation. Keyword transformation questions contain 6 questions. Each question consists of the main sentence and a second sentence with gaps. The sentence with gaps must be completed using between 3 to 6 words, including the word given. The word given must be in capitalized, and the form of the word cannot change. In addition, it emphasizes the ability to paraphrase throughout the knowledge or grammar and vocabulary. For example, here we need to paraphrase or to use some comparatives or superlatives and set expressions. Here we have some examples, and as you can see, the word, we have the first sentence, then the word given, and another sentence that should be completed. The tips are the same. That says read the whole text, paraphrase, and use the keyword given.
Okay. Part 5 of reading and use of English is multiple choice that contains 6 questions with 1 long passage. It consists on reading a text about its content, These tasks test a wide variety of reading skills, for example, reading for detail or understanding opinions and attitudes. Next, and here we have the examples with a long passage and for option. Next, please. Some tips to answer this section are read the text quickly to get a general understanding. Read through the questions without looking at the option from A to D. Also, underline keywords in the question stem, follow the order of the text, and find the piece of text where a question is answered and read it carefully. Next, please. Part 6 of reading is cross-text multiple matching. It has 4 questions. There are 4 short text with matching questions with 4 options. The questions focus on opinions expressed in the text to identify opinions that are the same or different across the text. It tests your understanding of underlying opinions and attitudes. Next, here we have the example with 4 short text and 4 questions. Some tips are read title and subtitle carefully. Also read the 4 text to see what each one is about. Identify the key information to focus on. Read the text to locate a reference to each of the 4 questions and identify the opinion that each writer has on each question and compare it.
So let's continue with the part 7, that is text with paragraphs missing. What is in part 7? A single page of text with some number gaps which represent missing paragraphs. After the text, there are some paragraphs in which are not in the right order, and the candidate has to read the text and the paragraphs and decide which paragraph best fits its gap. Also, what the candidate needs to practice. How to understand the structure and development of a text. And how many questions are there? 6 questions. And how many marks are there? It's 2 marks for each correct answer. Here we have the example, and this we have first the text, and the candidate needs to read the whole text and understand the meaning of the general idea of the text and select for the option. Finally, in the part 8 is multiple match. It is a series of multiple matching questions followed by a text of several short texts, and you have to match from 2 elements in the text. The candidate needs to practice reading for specific information, details, opinions, and attitudes. And there are 10 questions to cover it, and it is 1 mark for each correct answer. Here we have the example. We have in the green words the title, and we have the text. Then it says which writer, and the candidate needs to select from 4 questions, 4 options.
That is all about our presentation. Thank you so much.